So the value proposition for the artist with this open call that we are presenting today is in terms of funding and testing. Artists will be able to create, ideate, and design new creative applications, services, and products for manufacturing SMEs. And they would be able to access up to 50,000 euros in funding to design a new product, prototype, or service. Another advantage, another opportunity comes through the mentoring that the project provides. And this provides access to art mentors to help artists define their design. Training, the training opportunity is also very interesting for the artists, and as they will learn how to use the RAMP platform and be able to connect between stakeholders. And as previously mentioned, RAMP will give them the possibility to sell their creative services to manufacturing SMEs and mid-caps. When it comes to the eligibility criteria, as we may have mentioned a bit earlier as well, the artists have to be established in an eligible country, that is EU members, H2020 associated countries. As Antonio said earlier, the complete list of H22 associated countries and the EU members can be found in the guidelines that are available on the COL site. Artists have to be entities registered under the code 9003 artistic creation, but they can be self-employed individuals, freelancers that undertake artistic activities as a profession, job occupation, and they could also be performers, designers, composers, writers. The important thing is that through the application form, which is available right now until March 18th, the artistic applicants can demonstrate that they have a collaborative related experience in industry projects. They have a background or professional experience in one of the prioritized sectors. I know Antonio mentioned those before. I can go back to them during the Q&A if needed. Experience, they should also have experience working with technological means and digital ads, and obviously an interest in working to explore new paths to progress or humanizing technology. This is also very important. So again, I will go back to our partner Rodolfo to briefly explain some other examples of artists we are looking for, and I'm going to give you the floor, Rodolfo.
Thank you, Anka. Good morning, everybody. Some of you may have been here the whole morning, so this will be the second time that you hear this. For others, hopefully it's the first time, and I will be addressing you as artists, as this is the hour dedicated to the artists. We had a question in the previous Q&A on what do we understand by artists in the context of this project, and let me try to clarify that a little bit, because artists is of course a very broad term, and the way artists work is also very broadly defined. So our definition is by no means the definition, but it works in the context of this project. You must understand that in this project we are setting up collaborations between companies, technology suppliers, and artists for the benefit primarily of the SME manufacturers. So it would be good that being an artist or an artist designer, if you operate in both worlds partly, if you at least acknowledge and realize that by participating in this program, you will be expected to participate in a collaboration that is intended to deliver a positive or beneficial outcome, at least for the manufacturing SME, in the form of new product designs, could be new services, could be a new application of technology. It could be quite broadly defined, but it is purpose-driven or solution-driven in that sense. If you are an artist who is not interested in such a collaboration, then it's better if you do not apply for our program. One reference could be the artist designers who have been associated with the Bauhaus movement or the Bauhaus University in the earlier parts of the 20th century. Although being very critical at points and being very experimental in their approach, they also had a very strong focus on producing new products, new designs, which is something we also expect from the artists collaborating in our program. And maybe you can go to the next slide because I have a second one on here. Okay, yes. Where the Bauhaus artists were mainly focused on product design and experimenting in the first instance with materials, which is a very interesting group for our program, for Better Factory. What could also be very interesting is artists who have a lot more affinity and experience with digital technologies, as Anke already said in one of the previous slides. So it is very interesting for us if you are an artist who has a specific knowledge, background, or experience in one or several digital technologies and techniques, and are interested in collaborating with an SME and with a technology supplier in creating what could potentially be a radical new product out of that. A very interesting example would be the experiments in art and technology projects, the EAT projects that have been conducted in the late 60s and the 70s, mainly in the US. Here you see a little image of them with an engineer from a company, Bell Labs, and an artist, Robert Rauschenberg, collaborating in developing new products and technologies based on their mutual competences and experiences. So without being able to say this is an artist for us and this is not, I hope this gives some sense and idea of what as an artist you should be at least interested in to have a fruitful collaboration within Better Factory. Thank you. And if there are any questions, I will be here later on.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rodolfo. So with these examples, we are pretty much closing the presentation for the artists. I would like to stress the fact that you can always find information on the call sites, but also on our communication channels, like the website, Better Factory EU. You can find us on Twitter and LinkedIn, where you will always have some more information about the project. As Antonio mentioned, on the microsite, you will find all the information regarding the application form. In the guidelines, there are specific details with regards to the eligible countries, with regard to the submission process, and you can always contact us through our help desk and ask any questions you may have. We are here to support you with anything you may need and to try to give you the best information we have in order to assist you with the application. So, Antonio, we still have some questions and answers. Maybe we can take those questions now and then move on to the presentation for tech suppliers, because we'd like to give some brief information on tech supplier applicants as well, for tech supplier applicants as well, sorry, in order for them to understand the eligibility criteria and what we are looking for in a tech supplier applicant. Can we take the questions now, Antonio? What do you think?
Yes, thank you, Anka.
Okay, so let's see. We still have some questions we haven't answered, and one of them is June 26th, the deadline for the proposal. When is the jury day? When are consortia informed about the selection? So somebody is very ahead of us. Okay, Antonio, can you answer that, please?
Well, I think the idea at this point is not to focus on this stage, because first of all, the date when the full proposal open call will start is not already fixed. It will be by the end of April, mid of May, but it's not fixed. It's not announced formally to the Commission. I prefer not to compromise or to commit to any dates regarding this. It's true that the intention and the commitment from all of us is that the KT experiment takes place or starts on the 1st of September. That's the commitment we have. That means that probably the jury day will take place in July. Okay, that's all I can say. It's not going to be done in August, but in July, by the end of July, more or less, when the jury day can take place. But as Anka was saying, we are far away from that date. Please concentrate right now on following the process, the step one, etc. Because we are still at the beginning of the first step of the process. So.
Okay, we have a question from Sebastian related to tech suppliers. I think the answer to that one will come in the next presentation. So Sebastian, if you can stay with us a bit longer, we will be able to answer that question. Another question is, should the artist and the technology provider work on the same innovation, or can the artist, for instance, work on improving an existing product and the technology supplier help us develop a software for our production facility, not directly related to the product which the artist is working on?
Again, that's too complicated to answer now, because during the matchmaking process, there will be a specific team from the Better Factory Consortium that will be dealing with matching the different ideas, different proposals, different experiences, different challenges that the different actors, technology suppliers, the artists, and the manufacturing SMEs are put it on the table, and they will decide. So it's too early at this stage to give you an answer on, but in principle, of course, the idea is that between the three actors to apply in a joint proposal phase, that there is a contribution, a very good contribution from all the parties that take place, that are involved. So I would say that you can be in line with what we are expecting, but I cannot commit at this point to say if it's really something you will be able to do or not. It's something that is going to be the result of the work of this matchmaking process.
Okay. Can an artist publish a challenge too?
I don't know what they mean by adding publishing a challenge. The challenges, the artistic challenges, will be defined again in the matchmaking process. So if you take a look at the application form, you will realize that we are not really making you questions about any challenges that you could provide, because it's a subject that at this point is at so early stage that it will depend on this matchmaking process. So it will depend on the manufacturing SME we can put you in contact with, or we can think that you can pair, or with the technology supplier, etc. But that's a challenge. Okay, that's I wouldn't use the word publish, because I don't know what you mean by publish. It's a challenge that you will put on the table. You will, I would say, propose, and if it's in the scope of what Better Factory is looking for, and what this scope, what Better Factory will be looking for as a joint proposal, will be defined in the guide for applicants that are going to right now are being drafted, and it's a consequence or a result of all the first two steps. So step one and step two, the matchmaking process. So with the experience of this matchmaking process, the lessons learned of this matchmaking process, and the challenges that have been put on the table by all the artists, all the technology suppliers, all the manufacturing SMEs in the matchmaking process, we will elaborate the guide for applicants for this full proposal. And at this point, you will know exactly what we expect to be in the scope of Better Factory, or will not be in the scope, will be out of the scope. In the meantime, of course, during the matchmaking process, since you are going to be in contact, a continuous contact with the Better Factory Consortium, if you have a specific challenge, you will be able to propose this challenge and enrich the level of challenges that the whole project can be expected. But from that to say that you can publish a challenge, I mean, the question in fact is if you can propose a challenge, I would say in principle yes, but again it will depend on the matchmaking process.
Okay, a couple of other questions regarding artists. If we already have a business of printing on fabric images of an artist, would that be eligible as manufacturing? We don't produce the fabric, but we print it with unique images.
Well, for us, the manufacturing company has to be a factory. I mean, it has to be a company that produces a product and it has a line of production and that has to be digitalized, has to follow a transformation in the digital schedule, and also that they can take profit of the lean agile production technologies, robotics, etc. So I don't know. In that case, you are saying that you are not manufacturing or you don't produce the fabric, but you print. It's not clear in your question what you really do,
right.
But it has to be a factory. I mean, you have to manufacture. If you are just, I don't know, I would like to have more insight on this. What do you mean by, producing or not producing the fabric?
Laura, would you? The question is from Laura Berchan. Laura, would you like to
Yes.
To develop on that question? I'll just give you 1 second. I can't see her. Oh, I can't see her anymore. So.
Well, for all of you.
Okay, here she is. Just 1 second. Okay, Laura, we are now listening.
Hello, good morning or good afternoon. We are currently having a small business of creating fashion items made out of fabric on which we imprint the images of the artist that it's my partner in this project. So we are thinking to expand on ceramics and enter the home decor business. And that's why we would want to apply for this SME, thinking that we would open this line of ceramic printing with her images. I saw that ceramics is not on your list of eligibility. That's why I asked first about our main project, that is printing on fabrics. So we do manufacture, we manufacture items, fashion items, clothes, wearable fashion we call it, wearable art, and we sell the final product that is clothes.
And you are using 3D printing. You are using robotics. You are using.
Yeah, we are using equipment that is printing by sublimation on fabrics. We acquired this also by European funds. We acquired the technology necessary for that.
Okay, I would say that in principle you are eligible perfectly, but bear in mind that in fact we want to put you in contact with technology suppliers and with artists. So the idea is that you can get access to a technology supplier because you haven't been so far. You haven't been, or for this project, for the project you are going to propose in the full proposal phase, that you don't have the the technology supplier,
The
and you need
third
to
part,
do the
no, the technology supply would be great. So
Sorry?
we have the artist, the technology supplier would be great. We have the artist, we have, we already have in mind
I
the
would say
investment.
that you can go ahead. Of course, it doesn't reveal or presume that you are going to be pre-selected, but this is perfectly doable. I mean,
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, just a few more questions. Thank you, Laura. How long do you expect the relationship to last between the artist, SME, and technology provider?
That's a good question, because the idea, of course, I say that in my first presentation in the morning, that the idea is that there is a sustainability, a long-term relationship, a business that is made out of it. So for us, a scale up, a market wide enough. So of course, the idea is that there can be this can be the start of a long-term relationship between the three members of the consortium. We are going to just give you the support for a short time during the lifetime of the project, but we are going to give you the means to be in contact with banking investors, with learning to you how to do business plans, or you will have a business mentorship, so that you can get investment for the future and to go ahead with your relationship. But of course, from the point of view of purely funding from Better Factory, it will have it is a short-term financing, but the idea is that you have all the tools to continue this collaboration in the future.
Okay. And can the artist have worked with the SME on a previous project, or should the relationship be new?
I would say at this point, because I don't know if you are meaning that you already have the artist. Again, the matchmaking process is a process led by us, and if you already have know an artist you have been working with, both parties have to submit an individual application at this stage and at step one. And if both of you are pre-selected or validated, then and you register in RAM, then we start the matchmaking process, and then it's time when you need to tell us that you have a specific relationship with a specific artist, and that is the team leading the matchmaking process who is going to decide if it's the right relationship or not. Okay. Typically, we will say that if you show that this relationship has proven to be fruitful, potentially we will have no objection to approve this match between both of you, but it's not to take it from granted. So at this point, at this stage now of having to apply to an individual call, we don't see, and there is no match between any artist or any manufacturing SME. Is during the matchmaking process, you need to raise your hand and say, "Hey, I have this artist. I have worked with them. This is our experience together, etc." Nobody's going to say, "No, it has to be a completely new artist." No, makes no sense, because the idea is that you make a good proposal in the end. And on the other hand, even if none of you are pre-selected because you don't follow the criteria or whatever reason, we tell you that you are not eligible after the step one, and you cannot make or follow the matchmaking process, even in that case, you can always submit an application on your own as an outsider without receiving the support during this phase when the full proposal stage starts. The full proposal will be an open call, so for everybody, provided they are from the European Union or H2020 associated countries. I mean, the eligibility criteria that we have mentioned. But then, if for some reason you haven't followed the matchmaking process, it doesn't matter. You can still submit an application with this artist and with a technology supplier you may find somewhere else. Okay.
And the last question here is, does the factory have to have automation on its production line, or can the factory produce items by hand and craftsmanship?
I don't know if you are talking about the present time or the intention for this project, this experiment.
Lauren asked this question. Lauren, if you want, you can have the floor and explain a bit more.
Hello, hi. I'm working with a number of factories which work in the construction sector, but the product is produced by hand. It's not an automated production line, but the end product is for the construction sector. So I'm just wondering, but there is no technology in the production.
But when you say you are working with them, it's you represent them.
I'm representing them on this call, yeah.
Okay, but so you as a manufacturing SME, as an artist, or as well as a technology supplier, what is your role?
I'm currently running a program similar to yours, and you reached out to me. So now I am looking to represent artists and manufacturers to join your program. And I'm going to encourage my manufacturers to register, but I want to make sure that they are the right kind of manufacturing, right kind of factory. Okay. Yeah, they are producing product in the construction sector.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not automated.
It's perfectly fine, because in fact, one of the objectives of a better factory is to lead or to allow traditional manufacturing SMEs to be digitalized, or
okay.
In that concept, of course, if they are not using any technology, our aim is that by the end of the experiment, they can use them. So no worries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. So we don't have any more questions right now, unless someone wants to ask a question directly. So I believe we can move to the tech supplier presentation. Antonio?
The only issue is that the schedule is at 12 o'clock, and maybe some people will join there. So I will follow the schedule, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure. So
maybe we can have a
small break.
A small break, yeah. We'll
okay.
meet again at 12 o'clock. The reason for that is I know that some people are going to follow and to stay for the 3 presentations. But since we have said that the third presentation will start at 12 o'clock, I will stick with that program.
Okay, so we will just get back in 25 minutes. Okay, we'll take a short break for now. Thank you.
Good morning again. I don't know how many new people have joined us. I see there are 37 attendees right now. I don't know, Anka, if you know somebody new has joined, or they're the same people as in
The majority is the same.
I'm saying that, or I'm asking that because, of course, there's going to be a kind of repetition of what we have just said in the previous presentation. And so you all have seen that, or those of you who have been in the two previous presentations, that my first presentation regarding SMEs, manufacturing SMEs, was quite longer than the one from Anka, because of course there were some things that were already mentioned. But in any case, I'm going to repeat some parts of the previous presentations, the common parts, and assume that I'm starting from scratch. So I apologize if some of you will listen to the same things for the third time or second time. Okay, so now we are going to focus on the technology suppliers. Okay, we did a first presentation at 10 o'clock dealing with the manufacturing SMEs, then at 11 dealing with the artists, and now with the technology providers or technology suppliers. Okay, again, what is Better Factory? It's a European Union funded project, which objective is to help the European manufacturing SMEs and mid-caps enter new markets through the collaboration with athletes and technology suppliers. From previous questions that we have received in the previous presentations, let me clarify at this stage that the manufacturing SMEs we are focusing are not only those who are already using some technologies, or who are, what I would say, who have started or are already digitalized, have come into the digital world, have followed a digital transformation process. Not only those, but also those who still are using manual processes or hand processes. The intention is that in the end, after this project, Better Factory project, many or most of the European manufacturing companies have been digitalized or have started the process of digitalization. And the novelty of the specificity of a Better Factory is that for that we are using a collaboration program with artists and with technology suppliers. There are other projects dealing with robotics, dealing with manufacturing SMEs, dealing with digitalizing companies, like DI Square, which is also running at this point, L4MS, Shop4CF. There are other projects, but none of them include the factor or the element of the artist as being, an essential player to help these manufacturing SMEs not only to become digitalized, which is more the role of the technology suppliers, but also to improve and to make their products be more attractive for new markets, and thanks to new designs, thanks to new creativity inputs that the artists, only artists can give. Okay. That being said, and as a summary, we are focusing on the manufacturing SMEs as the core of the project, but with these two elements that will help, we give help to them. These two elements, plus, of course, the Better Factory Consortium, we are here to provide a lot of support that we are going to describe in further slides. But the idea is that at the end of this process, this experiment, the project that the SMEs will follow, they reach a reduction, significant reduction in their production cost, that we are able, or they are able to redesign their products through the artists, and also that they have the capacity of scaling up their project, and that's our responsibility by providing consultancy on financial and business. So we are going to see that for the whole experiment, the idea is that there is a long-term life of the relationship between the three elements, the artists, the technology suppliers, and the manufacturing SMEs, and that after the project, the Better Factory has ended, they can still collaborate, they can still work together, and they can make a business out of it. For that, as I say, we are going to provide, as a European Union funded project, all the support to make this be possible. An important element in all this framework is RAMP. RAMP is a marketplace that has been developed by the project, is underway, is not already finished, okay, but it will be available with all the main functionalities when time comes. And times I will mention when time comes, what we mean when RAMP has to be fully ready for all of you. But you can see in this slide that this marketplace, which is the name is RAMP, is Robotics and Automation Marketplace. It puts together the manufacturing SMEs with the technology suppliers, the artists, and right now it is going to be this consultancy provided by us as Better Factory, but in the future it could be external consultants that can provide these services. And the idea is that that's a place for the manufacturers and SMEs to buy the technology and services from these other components. Of course, during the lifetime of the Better Factory project, there will be no business transaction between them. There will be no manufacturing company buying a service from. No. I will explain that I would say our main program is a technology transfer technology program, which will allow thanks to our support, to make a matchmaking between manufacturing SMEs, technology suppliers, and artists. But in the future, after the project has ended, then this RAMP marketplace will be the basis of this relationship, not only with the, I would say, the partners in your project, but with future partners. If you are going to work now with an artist, you will have there in this marketplace a lot of artists to work with in the future. This is just a reminder who can join Better Factory. We are thinking of these three specific different types of applicants. One is, say, the manufacturing SMEs and mid-caps that would like to not only redesign the products, the current products and services, thanks to the creativity provided by the artists, not only to optimize the production cost thanks to the technology suppliers. In some cases, if you can suppose the start of a digitalization and transformation. So the manufacturing SMEs and the mid-caps are well defined in by the European Commission. It's important to note that we are not focusing on big companies, because we think, first of all, we think that the big companies have their own resources to manage this digitalization, but also because it's a mandate from the Commission from the European Commission to focus on manufacturing, on not only manufacturing SMEs in general. That's also going to be applied to the artists and to technology suppliers. But if you are an SME, you will be better positioned than if you are not. But the artists, there was a specific session for that, but basically you can be a freelancer or a company. We always prefer, as I say, an SME. And the technology suppliers, again, they are responsible, you will be responsible as technology supplier to work with the other two elements and to provide the needed technology to make this experiment possible. And paying a special attention to what we call the lean agile production. There is a need, of course, when we talk about reduction of the production cost, efficiencies, etc., and the use of technologies, they are hand to hand all together. They come all together with the lean agile production system. Okay, just to remind that an SME, according to the definition of the European Commission, is there are two criteria that need to be met at the same time. The first one is that there has to be less than 250 employees, what we call the headcount, and the turnover has to be less than 50 million euros. But we have extended that focus on the mid caps, which are larger companies. They are not big companies, but they can be up to 3,000 employees and the turnover is not well defined, but the turnover can be higher than 50 million euros. For you technology suppliers, we're going to see that you also need to be an SME or a mid-cap. We have had a question in the previous sessions about RTOs. It's true that RTOs could eventually be involved, but we are going to prioritize tech suppliers that are SMEs or mid-caps. Okay, so what we are offering is many things, but I would say that the most important for all of you will be this knowledge transfer program, which is a cascade funding program where different experiments are going to be funded. These experiments, we are calling them KTE, for standing for knowledge transfer experiment, which is included in this knowledge transfer program. And these KTEs are consortia that have been executed by three actors: one, a manufacturing SME or mid-cap, an artist, and a technology supplier. And we are going to do that in two different open calls. One open call we has just started, and the second open call that will happen later in the project lifetime, next year or in 2 years. And in each open call, we are going to select 8 KTs, 8 experiments, 8 consortia, and we will provide 200,000 euros of EU funds, okay, for each of them. We will give a lot of support. I will explain in detail what kind of support in addition to the funding we are going to provide to the technology suppliers in this case. And it's very important to note that we are prioritizing 6 industry sectors because these are the sectors where the European Commission and ourselves, when we did the benchmark to understand what the transformation in the digital transformation in the European manufacturing SMEs were about, we found out that these 6 sectors especially need to be focused either because they are not sufficiently digitalized or because that's where the artistic collaboration can make a better or a more fruitful result. And this is plastic and rubber, furniture and wood, food and agriculture, construction, metal and machinery, and textile and leather. I think and maybe most of you have already seen that slide in previous presentations, but for those who have joined us, I would say that this is the most important slide of my presentation because it deals with the process, which is sometimes not, the open call process varies from one project to the other. And so it's very important to understand what in Better Factory, the first open call process is about. The open call process is divided in 3 steps. In the first step, that's the phase we are now. We launched a call for applications from technology suppliers on the 18th of January, and this will be closed on the 18th of March. In parallel, we also launched a call for expressions of interest, that's the right expression we use for the SMEs, and a call for experts from artists. So the 3 calls have been running since the 18th of January in parallel, okay, and will be open for 2 months. The way to apply the application to this call is individual. It's a technology supplier without having any relationship, or in principle, we don't mind if they have any relationship with other potential partners or not. We are focusing here on the technology suppliers. They need to submit an application, an individual application. And this application, which is very simple to fulfill, after this application, there will be a pre-selection process that will be done within the consortium. So, and at this stage, we will, following the eligibility criteria that I will explain later, we will decide who is pre-selected and who is not. And the technology suppliers that are pre-selected are going to be invited to register in RAMP, okay? When will it happen? It will happen between the 28th of February, that is when we plan to start this phase, because we will have pre-selected a number of technology suppliers, but also of artists and also of manufacturing SMEs, and it will end by the 15th of April, more or less. These dates are not fixed, it may change from one day to the other, but It will be in the range of the last week of February and the mid of April. That's when you are registered in RAMP, then the Better Factory Consortium will contact you to start making this, what we call a matchmaking. It means that we are going to put in contact with an artist or with a manufacturing SME that fits in, we consider that fits in your profile. It's true at this point, because we have had questions in previous presentations, is during the matchmaking process where you can let us know that you have already contact with manufacturing SME you would like to work with, or with an artist you would like to work with. And it's going to be the team in charge of leading this process that's going to decide, okay, it's fine, let's work together, or they can consider that it's not the right partner for you because what we pretend is to go in another direction. And it's going to be at this stage when this decision is going to be made. Another decision, important decision, that is going to be made is the challenge you are going to work in. The challenge can be a technical challenge, but also there will be an artistic challenge that will be defined during this stage, not now. Now we pretend to have a kind of database of potential applicants for what we call the step 3, which is the full proposal stage. At this stage, this consortium has to be made thanks to this matchmaking process between one artist, one manufacturing SME or MICA, and one technology supplier. And when this is done, then you can apply all together for this step 3, which it will end by the end of June. The idea is that there are some dates that can change from one day to the other, but it can change 1 or 2, 3 days. That's it. But the idea is that the KT, the experiment itself, starts on the 1st of September of 2021. Okay. Okay. Then once we are in the full proposal process, we need to bear in mind 2 things. The first thing is that, okay, you have applied, you have been pre-selected, you have follow the matchmaking process. Now you have joined an artist and a manufacturing SME, and you can build a consortium. Okay. But this doesn't mean that other applicants which have not followed the matchmaking process, which haven't had the support during this process of Better Factory, this doesn't mean that these companies or these applicants cannot apply, because it's an open call. So outsiders, not having followed the process, can still apply. So that means that you might not be pre-selected now for some reason, but you can still apply in June or in May when time comes to the open call, if you have on your own met another artist or another SME, manufacturing SME, and you provide your own proposal. It's true that people who have followed the matchmaking process, that they will have had the support of Better Factory, they will have better chances because they will be more prepared to apply with a good proposal, or at least a proposal that fits in the scope of what Better Factory is thinking of. But once the deadline is achieved, once you have submitted the proposals, and we go back, we foresee that on the 26th of June, more or less, we should have ended this phase. That will be announced, by the way, by April, beginning of April. You will know when this third step will start. Okay, but more or less, we are talking about these dates. Okay, so once the deadline has reached, then we will follow this process. This is a binding process. This is a process that is supported by the European Commission. So we need to follow strictly this process. This is the real open call process. We will do an eligibility check just to double check if you are an SME or not, or you are, imagine that we realize that you are a big company, and okay. When I say you, in this case, we are talking about consortia. So the members of the consortium, they meet, all of them, the criteria of eligibility. If not, you will receive an email of rejection. If there is no problem, then there will be an internal evaluation. It means an evaluation from 2 experts from the consortium that are experts in technical, artistic, and basically and business. Okay, technical, artistic, and business things, and each proposal will be evaluated by 2 experts, 2 different experts. After that, there will be a ranking, and that will be established, and the selection committee of Better Factory will meet to reach a consensus. That's what we call a consensus meeting. After this consensus meeting, we will select 16 finalists, okay? Out of all the proposals we have received, that have been evaluated, 16. We will send a rejection email to those who have failed, and to those who have been selected, we will invite them to a jury day. A jury day means a pitch that needs to be done by each of the finalists, each of the consortia finalists, in front of a jury. The jury will be composed of the core partners of Better Factory. We still don't know if this jury day will be able to be done physically. That's in the past what we used to do. We met in a certain venue in a certain city in Europe, and there was a jury. Each finalist made a presentation in front of them. If not, we will do it online. We have the experience, unfortunately, we have had the experience of having to do this way last year, so in other projects, so we will do that again. In the end, 50% of the finalists will be selected, the other 50% will be rejected. And for these 8 selected KTs, there will be a sub-grant agreement that will be signed with them. And again, the idea is that on the 1st of September 2021, the KT start. When is the jury day going to take place? Okay, so if the proposal submission ends by the end of June, I assume that we will be asking or calling for a jury day by the end of July. We don't want to get into August. We know August is always a complicated month. And on the other hand, is the month when we are going to do the final steps, because after the jury day, there has to be a legal check that needs, a formal legal check that needs to be done with the selected partners and the formal signature of the sub-grant agreement. But the idea is that on the 1st of September 2021, we can start. I think that more or less I have explained in the previous slide what we are, what the open call process is about. Here it's important to know this date, because that's where we are now in, is that You still have until the 18th of March to do the application, and that you just need to fulfill an application form, very simple application form, which is available in a Better Factory microsite. That is different, this microsite, from the web page of Better Factory. It's a specific open call microsite from Funding Box, which is the leading partner dealing with the open call process. And again, in May, you will start this open call for proposals if you are pre-selected. If not, you will still be able to apply, but without our support. Okay, this is more or less what I also explained before, that the idea is, again, that after the step 1, which is the phase we are in now, you are able to, you are pre-selected, you register in RAM. You will receive an email from Funding Box saying, okay, you have been pre-selected, please now register in RAM. You need to register from this. There will be some guidelines on how to register in RAM. If you have any problems to register in RAM, we will be there to assist. And after that, there will be this matchmaking process which will start, and there will be the first thing to be done is to pair, do a pairing between the manufacturing SMEs and the artist, and then once this pair is done, they will go and find a technology supplier. There are two tools that are important to know that are going to be provided by the project during the whole lifetime of the project. I would say that the most significant one is RAM, because RAM, you are going to use it from the very beginning, even before being selected for the KTE, and even if you are not selected during after the pre-selection, you need to register in RAM. So once you are registered in RAM, you will be able to use this tool. And to respond to one of the questions that were made before, RAM today is not fully available, and it's not has not all the functionalities available. And especially if you register now in RAMP on your own, it doesn't mean you are going to get any support from us. You are going to get the support once you are pre-selected, and you get an email of confirmation that, okay, you have been selected as a technology supplier, please register in RAM. If you have already registered in RAM on your own beforehand, that's perfectly fine. But then you will be put in contact with the team of Better Factory that is going to lead the matchmaking process. Regarding apps, it's an advanced production planning and scheduling platform that is being developed. The project Better Factory started, by the way, in October, so we have been 4 months already working. But the intention of the use of this platform is, of course, to allow the reduction of the cost. So we are in line with one of the objectives, which is the production cost reduction, and in 50% of the time that is now applied. So it's a platform that is going to be very useful, especially for the manufacturing SMEs that are at this point are not really used to technology, or they are not still digitalized. So this is in line with our objective of using the agile production systems that makes the whole process of production more effective. RAMP is in line with our objective of having support and business support to this collaboration we are promoting between specifically the artists, the technology suppliers, and the manufacturing SMEs.